We are starting another session of RPG horror stories. We are officially starting this session, and the first story. I have no idea what it is about, but it sounds like fun already.
Yeah, we'll find out, I guess, right? The title is Insufferable Know-It-All Bosses Everyone Around and Rage Quits because OSR is not fair.
What is OSR?
OSR is like old school Renaissance or old school revival. It's people that want to play the old, much more difficult versions of the game. So, like,
How many acronyms do you know?
there are tons of them. Everything's an acronym. Nobody likes to say full words anymore. So they make
God damn
acronyms
it.
for everything. But that's what OSR means. And it doesn't necessarily
Old
mean
school
D&D.
Renaissance.
It's games that are designed to mimic old school D&D, like first edition, second edition, even 3.5 versus 5 a little bit. But mainly it's people that want to play the old way when it was much more difficult to survive in the games. So that's what this guy's referring to, is the somebody in their group bossed everybody around and rage quit because the OSR is not fair. I am already calling nonsense on this guy, because how is the game not fair? It's the same rules for everyone. That is fair. He just doesn't like it. That's different. Right?
I don't know. I don't know also what does he mean when it is not fair towards to whom, towards when you country, when you put a DM and players on different sides, and it is not fair to DM or players, or directly towards to him.
Yeah, it sounds like he was claiming that only it's not fair to him, but we'll find out. We'll get into the story and find out what this player is talking about. But remember, the player that's being accused of bossing everybody around and rage quitting because the game isn't fair is not the person writing the article. This is somebody else. So we're not going to hear his side of the story. But maybe we hear enough of it to figure this out, right? So this writer, Entrepreneur Long 9830, says, not going to lie, not my proudest player moment, but hear me out. I was playing Black Sword Hack. That's a RPG game, okay? More of an OSR type, old school, that they've been dying to play for a while. He gets a group together, and they were all happy about it, because sometimes it's hard to get a group together, especially to play a game that not a lot of people maybe have played before or heard of. So the GM has this whole game plot that he wants to run them through. In Black Sword Hack, there's this whole collaborative world building part that this player was stoked to try out. The GM's idea was pretty mid. That's kind of rude. But I want to play the game, so I'll see how it goes. I got to stop there, because you haven't even started playing the game and you already think the GM's game idea is mid. How do you even know? Is the GM telling you his whole game plan before the game even starts? That seems kind of ridiculous, but I think this player, has a little bit of high expectations and is like down on everybody else a little bit. Don't you think so? Are you there, Alex?
Oh my god. Oh yeah. A lost connection. Waiting for John. What happened to recording? I wonder what happened to recording though.
I don't know. It just kind of disappeared. I was reading the story and then I asked you a question and you were gone. I didn't know what happened.
The last thing I heard was actually the beginning of the story. After that,
Yeah.
it is my laptop. I was working in Premiere for the whole day and never restarted it. So yeah, I think that for video you can read the title once more because I don't know what happened to recording.
All right.
Maybe
I'll
they are
just
stayed, maybe not.
kind of start from the beginning. Hold on.
Yeah, from the title.
Somehow I lost my story. I don't know where it went. Let me reload it. All right. Now I got to get all the windows situated again.
I can send you in Discord.
I have it.
Okay.
It just closed for some reason and now I can't.
And the story also, so it is so many acronyms: TLDR, OSR, and the story itself also starts with NGL. I know some of them also already. I know TLDR. Now I know OSR. I know NGL. But then it goes in BSH. Bullshit. What I don't know what stands for BSH.
Hold on a second. I'm having all kinds of trouble with my screens right now.
Technical issues all over the place.
Yeah, it's just nothing's set up right when it left and then came back. It closed everything for some reason. I don't. Where did you see BS? Oh, BSH is just Black Sword Hack. He's just He's just shortening the name so he doesn't have to type it every time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened. Do you want me to just start again from the beginning?
Yeah, with the title.
Okay.
Let's start with
So
the
the
title.
title of this one is Insufferable Know-It-All Bosses Everybody Around and Rage Quits because OSR is not fair. And OSR is like an old school renaissance or old school revival. It's players that want to play using the old style rules that were much more difficult than current rules. I guess the players feel that it's too easy to play now. Their characters
Oh,
are too survivable. Um,
there are wizards with the 4 hit points, right?
yeah, yeah, back that long ago. Not like no death saving throws. You die, right? Uh, so that kind of stuff. So they like to play a more gritty game, a game where your character's probably going to die and you just that's the way you want to play the game, right? So this guy writes that not gonna lie, not my proudest player moment, but hear me out. They were playing Black Sword Hack, which is a specific game, a specific type of OSR game that he's been dying to play for a while. So they finally get a group together. It must have taken a while. He types, "Yay!" Uh, the GM has this whole game world plot that he wants to run through, and in Black Sword Hack, there's a collaborative world building part where that this guy was stoked to try. I'm not really sure what he means by that, but I think that the world kind of starts bare bones and players insert stuff in through their characters and their backgrounds and exploring. So they
It is
find
in,
things that
like
become
in one of my, not my games, but when I was a player, there is a DM who also, we made the world building on the session 0. So it was the setting was taken from my backstory of my character. So it was like an academy, like university, and all around we just talked through the stuff, what our players are and who they are, and around that we built the. It was not the whole world, okay. It was a little academy and a little town
yeah.
for
Yeah, it
this
sounds
academy.
like that. And it sounds like maybe there's some kind of mechanism in game for stuff to be added as you go. So as you experience things, you find a town, that town gets added, right? And maybe you find a race of creatures that you haven't met before. And now that race of creatures is in this world, right? So it goes wherever the players want it to go, kind of thing. I don't know that game personally, but it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's my kind of game. All right.
Yeah, a little bit more gritty and something that can grow with the players. The players are writing the story. It is supposed to be collaborative role playing, so everybody is supposed to be writing the story together, including the DM. So
Isn't it what the D&D is all about?
supposed to be. It is. It really is supposed to be. So this guy then says, I didn't really like this comment. The GM's idea was pretty mid, but I want to play the game, so I'll see how it goes. Um, I don't, I don't know. I guess he's talking about the grand plot of the game he didn't like. But the GM certainly is going to tell you everything about his world and the game before you even start playing, right? Uh, he might tell you a little bit, but he's not going to ruin the whole story. So to say it's mid before you've even played a single session, I think is is a little bit of a diva moment.
The GM's idea was pretty mid, but I think that he is referring to the GM's idea about the whole collaborative world building, isn't
No,
it?
it sounds like that's part of the game itself, not his idea. He's talking about, I think, the GM's plot
Oh,
for the story was mid.
no. I think that maybe they are collaboratively world building and what GM tried to bring in.
Maybe.
That
Yeah,
was made.
that could be. That could be if they're doing like a session
So
0 and
he
the
is
G
already
bringing
going.
lame stuff.
Yeah, he's already going for GM,
Yeah, he's already
starting
going
from
for the GM, which this isn't supposed to be about, right? It's supposed to be a know-it-all player. So we'll find out.
right.
Let's keep going. Session 0 comes. They all get to roll up characters and do some world building together. 3 of us show up and create their characters. A 4th guy then joins the group, and he's super loud. He kind of takes over the group, which is fine.
Which is not fine.
It's not fine. It's
I
clearly not
hate
going to
this
be
stuff.
fine. It's the whole point of this article. So, what's not
But he
fine?
says it is, which is fine.
Yeah,
to
he
be
says
loud.
it's fine, but clearly it's not, or he wouldn't have mentioned it in the first place,
I
right?
don't know anyone who would consider it fine. Only the that allowed player can consider it fine.
Yeah, yeah, and they probably don't even know they're loud, unless
It is
somebody
the
tells
worst.
them repeatedly, and then they probably still don't believe them. So he says,
They will say, "That's what my character will do.
"Yeah,
I'm a
yeah, well,
lionel. I have to roar, and not allow everybody to speak, anybody to speak. Only
yeah,
I
that's a
am
good point. That's
speaking."
not a character thing, though. That's a player thing,
Yes,
right? Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So he says what's not fine is that this player was also an insufferable know-it-all. He didn't bother to read the rules
Ooh.
and then just asks, so is this like OD&D, which is like old school D&D is what he
Mm,
means. Same thing as an OSR,
yeah.
old school. So they said kinda, but it's not really. It's kind of its own thing, right? And then he goes off. This insufferable player goes off on how he doesn't like OSR because you die too quick. We should use riffs or another system. And then goes
Mm.
into a long monologue about exactly why riffs is superior. Uh, and then spends like all this time talking about it. He repeatedly tries to get them to switch systems when everybody else agreed on a system. Now he's trying to make everybody switch. So
So he joined after,
it sounds like he was the
or
last
he
one
was.
in because it says 3 of us got together and then the 4th guy shows up later.
How did they connect, and why everybody was up for OSR except for this guy? I don't
Yeah,
even
even the
understand.
DM was up for OSR and all 3 players, and then this guy shows up and wants to change everything. And it sounds like he was the last one in. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he knew the DM, or maybe this was just a group that they pulled together randomly.
Okay.
So we tell him no, that we want to play this system, that we've already decided on this system, and you're welcome to play with us if you want to try it or not. It's up to you, right? If you want to join us or not, which I think is fair.
Okay.
You want to play
Yeah.
Rifts, go find a group to play Rifts, right?
Right. Yeah. Of course. Do not come to a D&D and says I want to play Mass Effect.
Yeah,
Don't join a World of Warcraft and say I want to play Star Wars.
exactly. Exactly. I mean, why would you join a group doing something you don't want to do and then try to change them to make them do what you want to do?
This is oh
Yeah,
my god.
that's not good. So
No social skills.
yeah, exactly. This guy's, yeah, no social skills is exactly right. So then once he agrees to stay in the game and do it their way, he's constantly telling him this is not how OD&D is done. They're not playing OD&D. They're playing, what was it called? Black Sword Hack. So he's basically telling him they're doing it wrong, but he's using a rule set that's not even the set they're playing.
Okay.
Right? This guy's
I
a little
already
nuts.
like this guy.
Yeah. I think I would have already kicked him out if I was the DM by now and said, just like, dude, I got 3 guys and a DM that want to play this game. Stop complaining and just play it, or leave and go find a game playing Rifts.
I think
Right?
that he already showed up a lot of red flags to be directly. You can go. You just free.
Yeah, you
You
clearly
are
don't want to
free.
play the game we're playing, so just stop already. Stop being a distraction and just let us play, right? So he goes on this kind of rant and then goes on these random tangents over and over again, while being completely oblivious to the fact that all the other players know more about the rule set they're playing than he does. Um,
Oh my god.
he just keeps talking to them like they're noobs, like they're just new players, and he's the only one who knows how to play. So they're all getting annoyed by this point, right?
Okay.
All of the other
I,
players. What's that? Go ahead.
no, that I'm just listening, and this guy makes my day.
Yeah, me too. I'm with you on
Little
this.
by little.
So all the other players were pretty into a low fantasy setting, right? They're not trying to make it Lord of the Rings. They don't want hobbits and shires and all that stuff, right? They just want war and simulated medieval style war, right? And they don't.
LARP. LARP, right?
That's live. I meant Lord of the Rings um, style with like fantasy races or D&D, right? With all these dragon boards and tieflings, and they didn't want to play that game. They wanted to play basic D&D, right? When
Okay.
D&D first
LARP
started, there
in
was
mind.
4 races.
LARP in head.
Yeah, in the head. Yeah, exactly. So during the character creation process, all of a sudden, this guy that doesn't even want to play this game decides he's going to be an elf. So the guy says,
Okay.
"All right, whatever." So now elves are canonically in this world. Fine, they go along with it. He then goes on another tirade about the economy of the world, how that's going to be with exhaustive uh, stories about how elves and dwarves and hobbits trade with one another. And they're like, there aren't even hobbits in this world. So how is the economy hinged on hobbits all of a sudden? Right.
All of a sudden.
Then he goes on to tell the group how dragons are canon in this world. Dragons
Oh my
exist.
god.
This
Oh my
isn't
god.
collaborative. This is him just dictating. This is how it is. Right. And I'm
And
not
now
even
direct.
sure where the
Yeah.
DM is in all this.
He's just listening to the guy and
I
taking notes, I guess.
I guess why isn't he speaking up and saying, "Look, this is not your world, it's our world." So you don't get to just say dragons exist.
Yeah, and we only roll d20. All other dices are prohibited.
Yeah, just make up arbitrary rules that
Yeah, yeah.
everybody else has to live by. It gets worse. So they call him out. He says nicely. We call him out nicely and say, we haven't even started doing the world building yet. We don't know if any of those races are even in this world or monsters. So let's play the game and let's world build as we go, like you're supposed to in uh, this system, right? Uh, so I guess they must have gotten him to back down because they start to do the world building phase. And again, he's dominating the conversation and dictating the way everything is going to be. They keep course
It's
correcting him.
insufferable.
He's a
Yeah,
child.
that title says insufferable. This is exactly the word which comes in my head.
Yeah.
As, as far as I listen to you, it's insufferable.
Yeah. He's got to be constantly course corrected, they said, like a child, right? Like when your kids step out of line and you tell them, hey, that's not the way we do things. That's for children. That's not for adults in a game, right? You shouldn't have to course correct people that you're playing with.
Especially since if they don't even listen to your
Yeah.
corrections.
Yeah, he's not listening to anybody, and that becomes clear even further as we go. So they course correct him and tell him this is a group thing, not a you thing. So you got to work with the group when we're world building. We don't just say this is how it's going to be, live with it, right? And he starts getting upset again and says, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just asking questions. Doesn't sound like he asked any questions yet. He just made demands.
All
Right?
right, all right. This is the way to ask questions while in fact you are making statements,
Exactly. He's making
camouflaged for
demands.
statements, for questions. There's
For
something
sure.
like I can't come up with some example, but this is what my wife lives to do.
Yeah. She likes to, uh,
She enjoys it.
yeah.
That's why she is X now.
Uh, that can happen, right? Well, I have a feeling this is going to be an X player soon.
Yeah, this is it is not the right route. Let's put it this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is
So
not
this,
how people should communicate to each other.
no, you have to be respectful of the other players. And it all goes back to either you're in it to tell a collaborative story together or you're not. And if you want to tell your own story and you don't want anybody else's input, write a book. Right? That's what they're
Yes.
for.
Yes.
So,
or start a YouTube channel.
yeah. Yeah. And don't ask anybody for their input. They're going to give it to you anyway in the comments. So this guy starts commiserating, complaining with another player and the DM in between sessions, like texting with each other on how annoying this guy is, and everybody agrees. But
Oh shit.
they don't do anything about it though, because session
Yeah.
1 comes along and they all decide they're villagers and they start out in a little hamlet, a little town, and there's an oncoming menace, whatever that menace is. Some army is marching on them, whatever it is, right? An envoy of elves shows up, right? Because they had to include elves in this world because of this guy, to help them stop the menace. So they go along with it. They know this guy's character's an elf, so elves have to be in this world now. So they include him, and immediately he says he decided to play a twisted science character. In this game, twisted science characters are like artificers in D&D.
Okay. Yes.
They're
I think
inventors,
so.
right? That's what they call like an inventor class. They just make up weird science stuff. They come up with weird ideas and they build them, right? But the game has like a mechanism for it. You start out by having some simple inventions that are in a list in the book, and you pick 2 of them. And then as you get better and level up, you can start creating your own stuff. You can come up with your own ideas and try to build it.
Look, I kind of like this game.
Yeah, I do too. It sounds fun.
From what I hear more and more, it sounds okay.
Yeah. So they go along with it. So they tell the guy, all right, you're a twisted science character. Go ahead and pick your 2 inventions from the list. And then you can later, as you level up, you can start innovating new stuff, right? So he tells the GM right off the bat, my starting invention is a pocket ballista, which
Okay.
a pocket ballista is a crossbow. Okay. That's what it
Okay.
is. A pocket ballista, you take a big old crossbow that's a ballista and you make it handheld. That's called a crossbow. That's not an invention. That already exists, right?
Yeah.
Except
Yeah.
in his
Absolutely.
mind, his pocket ballista does full-size ballista damage, but he can hold it in his hand. How does that work?
Okay. Okay. Does
Apparently,
he want to build a catapult?
Yeah.
Pocket catapult
Yeah.
that can ruin a whole
Yeah,
group.
it throws a rock the size of a golf ball, but somehow it can knock down a castle wall.
Right.
Right. That's what this is his big idea. So they all remind him, like, this is not, first of all, this is not an invention. This is just nonsense. It's not even, the physics of it doesn't even work, right? But it's not an invention. It's not on the starting list. You need to pick 2 from the starting list. So they remind him to go back to the list and pick 2. So he then the GM tells him no. So now he's pouting again. Okay.
What?
To the
What?
pocket ballista.
So DM allows him to have a pocket ballista?
No, the DM tells him no. That's not a
DM.
thing. You can't have something the size that is in your hand that knocks down walls. That's not a thing. It's not even a starting creation in the game. So you can't do that. You need to follow the rules for your class. Right?
At least sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, exceptions can be made, but your very first invention is not going to be the OP thing. That's going to have to come later, right? So now he's pouting, and so he then decides that he's elf royalty, and not only is he elf royalty, but he's in charge of that whole group of elves that came to help them.
Oh my God.
At level 1.
Can you please stop?
I don't think it's going to stop.
This.
But they're tired of arguing with him, so they go along with it, right? He then goes on to like take over all these narrative descriptions of the scenes and what's happening in this town, the economy, and all of this stuff. Basically, he takes over their little town with these elves, and now all the other players work for him somehow. He's telling them what to do. It's fun, right?
Absolutely. I don't know. I don't even know what I would do in these circumstances. I mean, if I'm going to play alone and having fun trolling him, or I would be too much annoyed, even me.
I think if it was me, I get the other two players.
You would not. You will not tolerate that. You would kick him out of your server.
Like, as the GM, I would have a talk with him privately and tell him either you're going to get on the program or you got to leave the game. You're ruining it for everyone.
He is not going.
He's not gonna. But I would give him a chance to back down and just tell him, look, this is not how it's going to work. But if I was one of the players, I probably would have got the other 2 players together and we would just kill his character in game and just say, wait a minute, you're taking over our town. We're going to go to war with the elves and we're going to kill you first.
Yeah.
Right.
I did that in game with an unsufferable player. I didn't kill him though. No. But when he was knocked down in a battle, I tied him up with a rope, by the way.
You love your ropes.
Yes. Yes. And after that, we had a little conversation.
Yeah. I could see that. I don't know. I probably would have gone further than that with this guy. He's pushing all my buttons.
He wasn't all that insufferable. I've never met a guy like that. I think.
Yeah, this guy seems a bit unreal.
Next level.
Yeah. So now he's describing all the scenes. He's basically taken over the town with his elves and is telling all the other players what to do. So one of the other players in character says, you seem to be talking more out of your butt than your mouth to his character, right? This is characters, right? But the other players start laughing at this. And now the guy's getting mad. He's like throwing a fit. He in character still. Do you know who I am? He's doing the whole celebrity thing with his elf, right? Do you know who I am? So they start calling him Sir Assmouth, his character. And now he's getting mad and more mad, right? Because all the other characters are calling him this. So he, instead of backing off, he doubles down and basically
Yeah,
insists.
the best choice.
What's that?
Yeah, the best choice in this
Yeah, that's
situation.
always the best choice to make it worse. He decides, he tells them they're all basically hirelings, and he dictates what they do now. They all have to sign a pact in game agreeing that he's the in charge in game.
He's like a goofball.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something wrong
Like
with this guy.
a village fool who runs around with a piece of paper claiming he is a royal, but everybody knows he is a fool and just mad.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
make fun of him. Sir Assmouth. This is where it comes to.
Yeah.
Inevitable.
Yeah. And you can tell the game's already falling apart. I mean, they're not even playing the game anymore. They're just listening to this guy dictate what's happening, right? It's not a game anymore.
Yes. Unfortunately, you either have a game or a show of a fool.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a show of a fool for sure. So they all push back on this and say, no, you're not the party leader. You're just one of the other characters in this game. We all have a say in the game. And then they call it a day from this session playing.
Oh, it was only one per session.
I think so. I think this was all the first session.
Very concentrated.
Yeah, that's terrible. I mean, they've accomplished nothing except have their town taken over by elves.
And Sir Assmouth.
Yeah, led by Sir Assmouth, right? So, I guess they head out on their next adventure and they travel through the forest. They're trying to be stealthy, and this guy decides to hide in a bunch of trees, right? However, it turns out, according to the DM, that he was hiding in a bunch of trees that were really baby ents. They were living trees, right? And suddenly they aggro on him and they attack, right? He immediately... Go ahead.
Yeah, DM probably is going after him.
Maybe.
Or how does he decided that he didn't roll a perception to figure out if they are.
Yeah, I don't know the exact mechanics to that, but maybe. But remember too, he also says these are baby ents. So not like full-grown trees, these are little. So they're first level characters. They're probably appropriately leveled for what they would fight, right? Like it's a random encounter.
Okay.
Right? So I didn't get the impression the DM was going after him. He just decided to hide here, and maybe on that map, that's where the baby ents were. Right?
All right. Okay.
So now
I don't know this aspect of DMing because like in our campaign with Jordan, it was mostly making up during the storytelling, the collaborative storytelling. So if there is already a map, I don't even know how it works actually.
Yeah, for my games, I do. I have battle maps and I will place creatures on those maps. So most of it is theater of the mind, but when we get to an actual battle, I like to have a map so that people know where they are and know how close they are to bad guys. Yeah. We did theater of the mind, but we also didn't play out every round of combat either. It was quick and it was done that way. This seems like more traditional map with, all right, you can't see them as a player, but here's where this creature is, here's where that creature is, here's where that creature is. So if you go over there, that's what you're going to find. And he happened to go where these ents were. This guy, he immediately flips out He starts raving about how his character's going to die and there's no way he can survive this. He hasn't even rolled a dice yet and he's already losing it. Right?
Because he knows this is a gritty game. He already knows it is an OSR,
Yeah.
where wizards have 4 health points,
Exactly.
and you have one pinch before you die.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe he is worried about his character, but have you ever been that worried about your character dying that you throw a fit in the middle of the game?
So he flips
He
the
flipped
table.
out. He lost his mind,
Okay.
screaming and raving about how his character is going to die.
Well, me, no, but I've seen players doing that.
Yeah, I don't get that. It's a game. Part of the game is your character could die. I mean, if you don't want to play that, you play Monopoly.
My beloved character died when I didn't make it to come to a session, and another guy took over him in a battle.
Oh,
So
that's
yeah,
awful.
I was like, okay, but at least tell me how it went.
Yeah.
He died heroically. Awesome. It was TPK, basically.
Oh, was it? So everybody died. Yeah, it happens. You just got to be prepared for it. And maybe say, I want to look into those trees and see if I see anything weird before I go run in there. Right? I mean, he didn't say anything about a perception check. So
there was
he
no
goes
perception
on about
check.
this and starts, he's having an absolute fit. And this situation went on about, and then he starts talking about if this was rifts, it would be so much better and blah, blah, blah. He's back to this again. Right. So in the first round, none of these baby Ents even hit him. They all miss. He was unharmed. And the other players have now already waded in to help him fight these creatures. Right.
Yeah.
So now he starts ranting. He's still ranting about how it's unfair and he's going to die. And he went on nonstop, shouting over all the other players, even while they took their own turns.
So it was a real life game, I guess.
It must be live.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must be live.
Sounds like it is
sounds
live
like they're together.
because otherwise they would not have a problem to mute his microphone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or ban from there if they are in the same room with him. Now this is another story.
Yeah. Yeah, it's more difficult when they're in the room with you, but I think you just got to stop the game and you got to say, look, dude, one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to get in the game and get on the program and stop all this complaining or leave. One or the other.
I got this. I've had this in real life when over the table the guy got mad.
Yeah.
He got mad because he wanted to murder hobo all around the town, and at some point DM just told him, you know what, you just bited his ear, now guards are after you.
Yeah.
Do you even want to roll initiative? There are 10 guards, they are running towards you're probably dead. Do you even want to roll initiative? He got mad. He was in a full rant for half an hour and he couldn't stop. And I was talking to him, and I was the one who was talking to him and tried to reason him out.
Yeah.
It happened. There was no way around it. He was
I,
there. And
I don't understand. How do you think that you're going to go into a town and just start murdering people and the guards aren't going to care?
Yeah, he didn't think that. We told him this is a consequence to your action.
Yeah.
Just like in real life, we tried to simulate real life together.
Yeah. You just
this is how it goes in every town. If you go to a blacksmith and try to bite his ear out for no reason, for him not being able to make you a tool you want just in a few hours, that's what basically happened.
Yeah.
Guards are gonna kill you. This is what's gonna happen. And
I like, you know what I like to do?
not the real life. And I didn't even understand his reasoning, actually.
Yeah. He just wants to go around killing random stuff and have no consequences. That's not really D&D. That's maybe
I
like D&D for 10-year-olds, but not for adults, right? I mean, you know what I
Good
do?
point. Yes,
You know what I
probably
do
good
to
point.
prevent this? Every once in a
What?
while, you're going to find a craftsperson like potion herbalist that sells potions, or a smith that's a retired adventurer, and they're like a level 20 fighter,
Oh,
and
oh,
you
oh,
try
oh,
to
oh.
attack them, they're going to beat you to death. And then you'll roll up a new
With
character
one
and you'll
punch.
stop attacking merchants and go play the game.
Yeah.
Go fight a dragon. Don't attack the blacksmith.
He was strongly against this idea, even though DM specifically told to him. He just invited all our party, all our group,
Yeah.
to the headquarters and told, no, like, know that there will be consequences to your actions, even though you're heroes and stuff like that. We are not going to tolerate. Nobody had to listen to that. We
Yeah.
all listened to that, but it was said only to this guy.
Yeah. It was for him.
And we knew about that, only he didn't get it.
Yeah.
So after
He,
that, he still did it. And even though before he started to do it, DM stopped and told, look, are you sure you want to do that? Are
yeah.
you 100% sure?
Yeah. That's
We
DM code for you better not.
yeah, but only if you don't care about your character anymore, you can probably do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So this guy is kind of the same way, because now he's having this fit that nobody can stop because he's thinking he's going to die. This guy hasn't even had his turn yet. He hasn't even rolled a single dice, and he's just throwing a fit that his character might die. So it comes to his turn finally. He must have been low in the initiative, and he starts raging again about how he's going to die, and he refuses to do anything or roll any dice. He just refuses. I'm just going to die.
Oh.
What's the point? Right? That's what he says. So they all try to encourage him and just say, play the game, roll the dice, try something. It might work. He throws a tantrum and he goes silent. The GM checks on him and he storms off. He's like, all right, it's still your turn. Are you going to do something? And he storms off. Right. So the GM takes over running his character, because they're not going to just stop the whole game for this guy. And they really thought that he wasn't coming back. And this guy, the guy who's writing this piece, says he was relieved that he was gone, that they could finally
I
play the
can
game.
bet.
Yeah. So they easily win this fight. The baby Ents really didn't put up much of a fight. Nobody even lost a hit point, including this guy's character, who the DM was now playing. And it was a pretty easy intro combat. Just like I said, right? The DM probably set up an easy combat so they can understand how combat works in this game. As soon as the fight's over, he shows back up. It's like 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later. And like
asking, why did you make turns for my character? Why didn't you
no, he
wait for
didn't.
me?
He didn't. He just came back and he didn't say anything about why did you run my character. But I guess he could tell that nobody was pleased that he came back. Like the guy
so there
says,
are not zero social skills. There is at least one.
There's one
half,
social skill.
Half.
Tiny bit of self-awareness. So they head on to the next scene, right? And they get attacked by a troll and 2 werewolves. Okay. That seems like a big step from 3 baby Ents to a troll and 2 werewolves. But this guy flips out again. He's going hysterical about how it's unfair that they should be in combat again. And I'm thinking when I'm reading this, Like, you weren't even in combat the first time. You left. Right?
Yep.
And then he's yelling about how these monsters are too overpowered. We're all going to die, blah, blah, blah. He wasn't wrong on that one. These are trolls and werewolves are pretty powerful. I'm wondering why the DM threw him at them after like an easy fight like that. Seems weird, but he's behaving like a
Okay.
spoiled child the whole time. And again, his turn comes up and he refuses to roll or take his turn. And he's all about this, I'm going to die, what's the point nonsense. It's like, why are you even playing this game?
Dude.
You ever heard of that? Like, people refuse to take their turn?
No.
Yeah.
I think I don't have enough experience in D&D to ever encounter stuff like that. This sounds...
I've DM'd thousands of games. I have never had anybody refuse to take their turn. Never.
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 But
I
if
play
you
with
think about it,
kids. I play with kids during the day. I have kids camps. I've never had even a child tell me, we're all just going to die. What's the point? It's D&D. That's the point. It's a TTRPG. You take your turn. Maybe you win. Maybe you lose. That's the game. So this guy's, again, refusing to even take his turn. I'm going to die. What's the point? He goes into all these theatrics about all of that. And the players are just like, dude, roll the dice. Just play the game and have fun. Who cares if we die? But that was the last straw.
Okay.
He goes on another rant about how none of this would be happening if we would have just played Rifts. Again, I don't know. Maybe he gets some kind of kickback from Rifts if he can get people to play it.
Yeah, referral system.
Yeah, some kind of referral system. And he flips over the table and tells everybody to F off and walks out.
This guy is a gold.
Yeah. The funniest line is the last line that this guy writes. He says,
Oh my God.
this guy just flipped over the table. So everything's on the floor and upside down. He says, we decided to end the session after that. And I quit the game after that. He didn't come back. I think that's funny. I don't think you ever really had a game, but I don't understand. Why not just kick that guy out and just play with the other 4 people?
So he actually flipped the table.
He flipped the table over that they were playing at. Yeah.
Hadouken.
Yeah.
Shit. Shit. Dude, this is, oh no. Yeah, you gotta get away from guys like that. No, I wouldn't play with this guy.
No, I'd be surprised if they could find if that guy ever could find another game.
Yeah, it's gonna be really difficult.
I would think so. I mean, he's gonna have to, like, maybe it would be good if he found an online game and they recorded it and then sent him the recording of his behavior so he could watch it back and see
This way
what
he
other
at least can't flip tables.
Yeah, well, that too. He can't flip the table if he's not with you in the room. But I just don't understand this behavior. Like, the game is not about you. It's about the group. Terrible one.
Terrible.
My biggest concern in this whole thing, and I know it was written by one player about another player, but I don't know where the DM was for all of this. Like, why didn't the DM step in and handle this problem? He just let his own table implode for no reason. He just had to get rid of one player, and it sounds like they had a good group.
Yeah. All right. That's there. Amon Devilman said that I get that your character dying like a chump sucks, but what's this guy problem?
Yeah, exactly. I agree with
Everything
you,
is.
Devil Man. You're a Devil Man and you know better.
Moving on.
Yeah.
How?
You want to do the second one? It's one of the shorter ones.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I'll go with the shorter ones. I will put the link in chat. So we are reading this one. Boom.
All right. Let's do it.
Mimo. How it how a tier list ruined the gaming group. Throwback to 2015ish. The group I'm just finished a year plus. The group I'm in just finished a year plus alone 3.5e campaign, and we are getting ramped to start a new one with a different player running the game. During the campaign we just finished, a couple players played extremely powerful caster builds that trivialized some encounters and may have resulted in bad feelings between them. And one of them, less powerful martial art characters, I'll call Fendrel.
Okay. All right. I get that. You got a couple powerful characters controlling the game, and you've got like a monk or something, and you're just punching stuff and they're throwing fireballs around. Can make it boring for you.
Monks can be powerful, especially in
They
the new
can.
edition.
Yeah, they can. In the new edition, you're 100% right. But if you've got like two wizards blasting everything to smithereens, you might not even get in the fight.
Well, yeah. So we call him Fendrel. Fendrel
Yeah.
was DMing the new game and decided to allocate stats based on tier lists they found online. This resulted in high power casters getting significantly less stats than the martial characters. The campaign started okay, but the stats discrepancies discrepancies were felt heavily.
Discrepancies. Yeah.
Uh, so how they were managed, right?
Yeah.
Discrepancies.
I don't like that tier list thing. Like they don't have any say in their stats. They're just picking from a list. I don't like that. I guess it's meant to balance the characters, but it doesn't always work very well.
Like tier list. If you are playing wizard, you want what you know, wizard. Oh,
Well,
wisdom,
they're
right?
basically creating lists of stat blocks um, to make the characters even. So, like the monk would have this stats, and the wizard would have this stats, so that they're
Oh,
doing like more equal damage output. I'm guessing that's what he means.
balancing it,
They're
trying to
balancing it.
balance
He's
the game.
balancing it himself instead of just letting the people play their characters.
Yeah, it kind of it sounds like a thing maybe to try, but
Yeah. I
for one
think
shot,
if
maybe.
you're okay with you have a starting tier list and it's not working, so you tweak it throughout the game until it works right, then I'm fine with it. But if you're forcing them to stick with it, they're running a character they're not going to enjoy.
Yeah, you're giving them a character. It is
Yeah.
okay probably for new player when they don't really want to dive in all of those books and pages. They
Yeah.
can get a little character and play along with him.
Absolutely.
Try out the D&D
Yeah, you
how it
just have to
goes.
be a little flexible, right? If it's not working, tweak it a little bit so that it works better and then everybody's happy, right? Doesn't sound like
Mm.
that's what happened though, because you just said that um, the
The
marshal,
campaign started
yeah,
okay, but then it felt this tier list began to hit hard.
yeah,
So, cast characters were struggling to complete tasks not associated with their cast stats, strength, and dexterity checks saves primarily. It culminated in an absolute tragedy in which the party had to climb down a rope into an anthill. Again, ants.
Yeah.
What's going on
Well,
today?
this is ant with an A. Those were ants with an E.
Oh, hey, I thought that was somehow ant trees. I thought
No.
like
Ents,
in the shape of A.
ENT, like the tree people that were in Lord of the Rings books and movies.
I got it.
That's an
Oh
ent.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, oh. Okay. Yeah, I understand now. So one person in the party was able to make the climb successfully. Everyone else either refused to go down the rope or fell to their significant injury, leaving one undamaged party member and two easily wounded ones to fight the boss. Only through GM Fiat were they successful. After that session, the DM complained that climbing down the rope wasn't supposed to be that challenging, at which point I simply asked, what did you expect when you assign stats based on a tier list and only gives some classes enough stats to barely function in their role with no capability to go past this role? The campaign didn't last much longer after that. There were more problems with the tier listing, like you couldn't multi-class up tiers, only down, like you couldn't multi-class up tiers, only down. In example, a level 1 fighter couldn't multi-class into cleric, but a cleric could multi-class to fighter. The whole ordeal resulted in some bad feelings that only grew over the years.
Yeah, I get that. I'm not a big believer in tier lists or anything that forces people to play characters they don't want to play.
I have never even heard about this thing. I know that there are some builds and stuff, and I get it if you don't want to spend a lot of time. When I make a character, I uh, giving stats and stuff like that. I don't really like. I can kind of explain ChatGPT what I want this character to be like and what his backstory is, and send
Yeah.
him backstories, and I like come up with something which will represent him more, and after that we'll just see if it aligns. So if it is a druid, so there should be wisdom, but it should be also somehow explained why he is wise.
Yeah. I'm kind of big into when I play characters, I don't necessarily have to have the best stats and everything. Like I don't mind playing a wizard who's weak. It makes sense and it's kind of fun to play that he can't climb down a rope.
Yeah, why not?
Right? When
Yeah.
there's other characters that can do that or help them, right? So maybe the barbarian with the 20 strength can tie a rope around the wizard and lower him down instead of him climbing, and then he doesn't get hurt falling off the rope. You have to work as a group, but I do believe you have to enjoy your character, or it's not fun to play the game that much. So
And
forcing
find
people
some
to
ways
take tier,
around.
yeah, exactly. So I don't agree with the tier lists on this one. I'm on the player's side on this one.
Yeah, I don't like this idea as well.
Yeah, you too.
It doesn't seem nice. No, I wouldn't use, especially if it tries to balance things out. I don't think that anybody just random from internet can balance out the group.
Well, I
Where
think
do
I
they get these tier lists?
yeah, I think that's part of the DM's job though, as the DM is to balance the game. So instead of balancing the characters, the players' characters, balance the NPCs. Make the fights more difficult or change the fights in such a way that it includes the martial characters and the casters, right? Like
Hmm.
have some of the creatures attack in melee while others hang back with bows and arrows. Now you've got stuff for the martial people to do and the casters.
I gotta try to play with you sometime.
We'll make
As
it
a
happen
DM.
sometime. Yeah.
Sounds like fun.
It is. I enjoy it. I enjoy every game I'm in, and every game that I run is completely different.
I can imagine. So the next story, another horror story, is called "Clearly She Didn't Want to Play." John, I think that it's
You want me
better
to do
for
this
you.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So clearly, she did not want to play the game she signed up for. We've heard this one before. Let's see where this one goes, though.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
It's a little familiar. We've done a few like this before, I think, or at least based on the title. We don't know for sure where it's going to go yet. So
sounds like all toxic players don't want to play the games they sign up for.
yeah, well, the first story that we did, right? He
Yeah.
didn't want to play the game he signed up for. He wanted to play Rifts.
Yes.
Right?
He specifically said so.
Yeah, he did multiple times until the whole group broke up and quit. So we'll see if this one happens as well. So this writer says, I created a Pathfinder game in a city, and a player insisted that she had to play with a rideable animal companion. I warned them that a rideable dire fox would not be welcome in the setting they were playing in. First of all, how do you train a dire fox to take a rider? That doesn't make any sense.
But the dire fox, is she like strong enough to be able to carry someone?
Maybe the person was like a gnome or a halfling or something. But
Didn't
still,
know.
a dire fox. Do you ever try to like sit on your dog? They don't like
I
it.
did.
Yeah, they
When I
don't
was
like
10
it. They
years
run.
old.
Yeah, this doesn't make sense. This is just some kind of, it's going to be cute if I come riding into the battle on a fox. So
But
I want to
dog
do that.
is bigger than a fox.
Yeah.
Still.
Exactly. So the DM said that wouldn't work in my setting, which could be described as more like modern New York City with magic. So more of a modern environment. But
No.
if magic existed in a modern urban city.
More like a shadow run.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. She insisted on having to have this fox to play this game. So this person was a first-time DM and dumb, so he agreed with this. So on session 1, I introduced the players to an NPC ally in the game. The NPC asked the players to meet them at their temple, to give them a quest. She tells them all to take the fantasy subway, and she has to run errands, but she will meet them there later. The ranger decides that the city game she signed up for is too city for her. She wants to ride. She wants to ride her dire fox through the city
instead of fantasy subway.
Instead of fantasy subway. The DM tells her no. She argues that her dire fox and her are afraid of subways. Right? It's the old "my character wouldn't do that" argument. Right?
Yeah, suddenly she is afraid of subways living in modern New York City.
Yeah. Hate to break it to you, your dire fox is afraid of you and afraid of being ridden. So the subway is the least of its problems. So
it is dire fox.
It's a dire fox.
But she's a ranger on the other hand. Don't they have the animal handling?
Yeah, I mean,
She can.
to a certain extent, but to make something a permanent mount is going to take something more than animal handling.
Yes, permanent mount. Yeah,
This is permanent. She's wanting to
but
ride this thing everywhere.
drows ride spiders.
Yeah. Not through
That-
New York City, though.
yeah,
They take the subway like everybody else.
it is more familiar for them than for a ranger.
Yeah. Well, they live underground, so the subway's perfect for them.
They probably built it.
So,
Not them, but they are slaves.
yeah, kinda. I think they are there, but aren't their spiders trained to be mounts too?
Yeah,
Like they're
they
raised
train
from a
them from the
baby to be a mount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
And
it's
the
again,
drows
it's
are
different.
pros in doing that because they are training to speak to spiders from the very childhood.
Yeah.
And spiders also they are living and coexisting together. Yeah.
Yeah. And they
So
worship the spider queen. So, I mean, if you have the queen of spiders on your side, you're probably good friends with spiders, right?
yes. Not
So
the
this
best queen.
DM didn't plan to do any traveling role play. They were just supposed to get on the subway and then they show up wherever they're supposed to meet, right?
Fast
So he's
travel.
like, I don't care. Fine. Ride your fox across New York City. I don't care because we weren't going to role play the travel anyway. So go for it.
Mhm.
So he's already giving in, which is probably just going to make this worse, but we'll see. So he tries to continue with the narration. So you all arrive at the temple. Well, the ranger wasn't having any of that. She interrupts to say that she's not at the temple. The DM asks why not. She says that the dire fox got lost and doesn't know its way. Of course, it doesn't know its way in a city. So the DM says, no, it didn't get lost. It's there. She starts a second big argument because I didn't give directions. Like, I think he needed to pull out a map of New York City and draw it on there for her.
But
Right?
still, it could resolve in some situation. Maybe if she really got lost. But from DM's side, is it a little bit of a railroading? I guess.
It's a bit of
Isn't it?
railroading. I would agree there. I would have said, okay, your fox got lost. You're not with the rest of the group. What are you doing while the rest of the group is playing the game? Like they're all here, they're going on this mission, and you're lost in New York City. So I would run it separate. It's a split the party, and I'm running one game for the rest of the group, and I'm running you're lost in New York City on a dire fox.
But portion of a game, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna jump back and forth.
She has how many percent of a game? Like 15%.
Yeah.
Maybe 85 goes with a group and 15% you're doing your
Well,
you're doing
remember
you.
too, like if she's lost in New York City, she's not in combat, right? She's not in initiative. So if the rest of the group goes somewhere and gets in a fight, that's all resolved in 30 seconds. So she's doing nothing in 30 seconds. So she's just going to get skipped for a while they're in combat.
Just
But
become
she
a
decided
spectator.
this.
Yes. You have to allow that.
Yeah, she
If she
took
wants
herself
to
out
get
of the
lost
game.
in New York City, she can get lost in New York City. All right.
Yeah. And how big is New
Ask
York
for
City?
direction.
Right. So I would figure
Do
out, all right,
something.
how long are you lost? You tell me because you made up this story about you being lost. You tell me how long it takes you to find your way back to where you're supposed to go. And when you get there, everybody's gone.
Oh.
So that's how I would handle it. I mean, I'm not big about railroading. So if you tell me you're not with the group, you're not with the group, but time frames are going to be time frames. If they're in combat and you're not, you're going to have to sit there through that combat and wait. Right? You're not going to find your way from Grand Central Station to the park in the 30 seconds that their combat takes.
I have no idea how big New York is, but I can imagine it is comparable to Moscow, probably.
Yeah, it's massive, right?
It's
So imagine you're lost
probably
in Moscow.
bigger.
That's going to be a while.
That's gonna take a whole campaign.
Probably. She's on her own campaign now to Lost in New York. So she argues that on this dire wolf mount, she has gone all the way to Fantasy Queens, which is another borough. That's far. And she's riding a fox. So that probably would have taken her a day to get there in real life if she's riding a little animal like a fox. So
Oh shit.
DM tells her, fine, the rest of the party is going on this quest. You're in Queens. And you can figure it out, find another subway, and find your way back to where you're supposed to be. And when you arrive, you can rejoin the group. So the rest of the group took the fantasy subway several more times, and the DM told her, you just get there somehow, because he didn't want to deal with it anymore. And after the session, he asked her if she's sure she even wants to play this game, because they all agreed that the expectations were clear when we said this was modern New York City, but with magic. So, and all along you're fighting that, and you seem to want to play high fantasy, not what we're playing. She said, of course, she wants to play this campaign, and she thought she made an appropriate character for this modern New York City. She did not attend another session, so she never came back. Yeah,
yes, of course, but no.
Yeah,
yes, but actually no.
I wouldn't have even cared about the fox, right? You want to have a make-believe fox mount in this. I really don't care. But if you're going to take yourself away from the group, then you're away from the group. I'm not going to spend all my time on you and ignore them when you're just lost.
You're just lost.
And they're actually doing the campaign that we agreed to play. So
yeah. Are you actually going to participate in the group activity?
Yeah. There's
doesn't sound like that.
No, I don't understand joining a group and then separating yourself all the time.
Yeah, me neither. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's a group game. It's meant to be done together.
If you want a spotlight or something, I guess. I don't even understand why people can do that.
Yeah,
separated them from the group.
Yeah, just kind of take over the whole group. I don't either. I don't like to play that way. I think I do have some groups where there are players that like to try to take over, but usually the group will self-police that, and they'll just tell them, look, you're talking over all of our turns. Let us decide what our characters do. And it usually balances out after a while, and they get the idea and they become part of the group. That's a little bit of growing pains in a new group. But to just separate yourself constantly, what's the point of that? Why even play the game?
So they do learn their lesson, right? Because
I've had plenty of people learn. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think
I thought that it is if it goes like that, if a player just interrupts and talks over other players, he's unteachable. If you say to him several times, he doesn't know. Probably, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Based on your experience, if it is teachable, then I thought that it's just the way they are.
It can be. I've had other players that they don't learn that. I've been fortunate. I've never had to kick a player out of the group or out of a game.
Never say never.
Yeah, I mean, it may happen someday, and if I think that's what's best for the entire group, but I'll also reach out to some friends in DMs and say, do you have a group that's all like people who are like this and they can all just argue with each other? Because I do believe there's a table for everyone. There's a group that will enjoy the way you play, whether you're like min max or whether you're rules light or low fantasy, high fantasy, whatever. I think there's a group for you out there. You just can't wedge yourself into a group that you don't want to play what they're playing.
Okay, they flaked so much. I see that it is also pretty short. But
yeah, this one's a little shorter too. You want to do this one?
we can take a longer one or doing this short one and call it a day. What to do? Because otherwise, I think that there is going to be a lot of long ones for tomorrow.
We can do a longer one. Send it to me.
Okay.
I have time to do one more long one. That's enough. And then we can save this short one for tomorrow.
Awesome. Oh, so I can send you in this studio, like in private chat or in Discord, but you are offline in Discord.
I'm not. I'm on there. I just had the window closed.
Oh, I see. Let's do this one.
Okay.
I think. Is it long?
Yeah, it's decent. It's decent length. It's probably as long as the first one that we did.
Because I like it because it is exactly about a player gets kicked.
Yeah.
We are rolling about that for the whole day. But there is also another one which is a little shorter, so you decide. I will send you the another one as well. It's a bit shorter.
Why can't I play a psychopath? We have to do that one.
Okay,
let's do that one. I want to know why this guy's not allowed to play a psychopath. Sounds like the guy you were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah.
The guy that wanted to kill everybody in town and didn't understand why the guards didn't like it.
Yeah. By the way, maybe this is because it sounds like him.
Is this? Yeah, maybe this is
Pretty
him.
Much.
He found another group, and this is the other group.
No, they are playing with him still. I had to leave because I can't.
Oh, you left.
Do that. Yeah, I did.
That's probably a good move. You want to do this one, or you want me to do it? You want me to do it because it's longer? Okay. All right. So this one is called. Oh, I love the name of this. The writer of this one too. He's called Unpriced Toaster. I don't. How do you even come up with that name? But I love it. The title of this one is "Why Can't I Play a Psychopath?" That's awesome.
Based on Cyberpunk
Red. I don't know much about Cyberpunk and Cyberpunk Red, so maybe we'll learn some stuff about it. I have some friends that run it and they love it, but it's a little bit crazier, more of a thriller type game.
I wonder why Cyberpunk Red even exists as a TTRPG if Cyberpunk flopped.
I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. I don't know. Maybe it's a slightly different storyline or something, and people liked it better. I'm not positive. You ready to go? All right, let's do it.
Let's kick
in. This guy, the Unpriced Toaster, says we played maybe 4 sessions of this tense, atmospheric thriller game in Cyberpunk. All the players are basically lowlifes working to make ends meet in a dark, dystopian corporate hell.
All right.
So you kind of get the idea of the feel, right?
Yeah, this is more of a Shadowrun also.
Yeah. This was an online table for regular players and 2 GMs. I mention the game online and I get a message from somebody asking about it. Hey, mind if I join your game? We'll call him Rick. And he seemed polite enough. He said he'd played the game for several years and was familiar with the system and the setting, uh, and had been looking for a good group for a while in the time slot that fit into his schedule. That's usually the hard part, right? Scheduling.
Yeah, yeah, falling apart.
Yeah.
The this is the real TPK. You
Yeah.
don't need that. How do they call the guy
We
we've
don't
been
need the
waiting for?
BBE.
Yeah, the Rask. You don't
Oh,
need the
yeah.
Rask.
We don't need a Tarrasque. We just need a calendar.
Yeah.
So everybody liked this guy's enthusiasm and figured, why not? Let's let a new person into the group. Sometimes that livens up the game, right? Maybe a new narrative element. So they welcomed him in. Red flag number one.
Okay. A good start.
Yeah, it's already started. They just let him in. Rick submitted a very specific and unusual character, something like an online gamer girl who wore cat ears and a
Oh,
tail on her stream, and her avatar who had been abused by the megacorps, her for her image, and that now she was old news. They kicked her to the curb, right? These megacorps used her for
playing a
whatever they
girl,
could get out of her publicity wise and then kicked her to the curb, right?
playing a character, a girl with the
Cat
cat
ears. Yeah.
ears. Doesn't
Yeah.
sound good
No.
already.
I'm okay with it. I mean, if that's what they want to play, let's see where it goes because I'm sure it's got to get worse. The megacorps have evenly surgically grafted the ears onto her, or she did.
So,
It's
so, so do you have in your games? You probably do have some players who want to play opposite sex.
Oh yeah, there it happens from time to time.
Is it usually a good idea or not? Because I can barely imagine that.
It doesn't really matter to me. I don't care what character gender you want to play. That's completely up to you. All my games are played with like a PG-13 when it comes to romance. So if you want to try to hit on a bartender, it's going to fade to black. We're not going to role play through the whole thing. Right?
Yeah,
That's just
yeah, sure.
uncomfortable for everybody, and it's uncomfortable for me. I don't want to role play like 5 different romances. I want to fight dragons.
Yeah, I mean, when they role play, usually it goes well with the player, or usually it goes somewhere
Yeah.
in dark
I
corners.
can see, like, say you've got a guy playing a female character in a group and there's 2 other females in the group and the guy's constantly uh saying things that are not appropriate or that the female players don't agree with, right? That could be tough.
Like referring to physiology.
Like, yeah, well, like even gender stereotypes,
Oh, okay. I
right?
see.
Like,
Right.
I mean, I don't see how a man can play a woman character like a woman, right? I
Yeah, me
barely
neither.
understand my
I
wife
think
and I know her and live with her every day.
for me, I would if I would role play as a girl, it would be only for jokes and for mocking other girls in the group.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? Would the other girls appreciate that or would they get mad?
Without other girls, I wouldn't even play a girl character for what.
Yeah, if there's all guys and you're playing a girl character, that would be a little awkward, I think.
Yeah, and and if there will be girls in the group, it would end up nasty, I guess.
I think
I,
so.
I think that I would get a couple of slaps.
Maybe that might be
maybe
fun. We
maybe
could.
one of flipping table.
Oh yeah, the flipping the table. Yeah, that would be good. Maybe you should try it. Next time we play a game, you can be a female character.
Only in real life.
Only in real life. You can't flip the table online. You're just
I
wrecking
can
your own
flip my.
house.
Yeah, I can flip mine.
Yeah, but then you're just wrecking your own house.
Still.
So, let me get back. Where were we? Oh, okay. So now they took the time to even put in their story that the ears and tail are grafted surgically onto their character. Unconventional, but certainly it's dystopian, so it fits the environment, right? I've seen stuff like that in various movies about dystopian futures. So they approved the character sheet and even started integrating the character concept into the world's larger narrative. So they're starting to think this could get interesting if they meet a fan of this person from when they were famous, right? Or stuff like that. Or maybe even haters or a stalker, right?
Yeah, it does. It does adds some depth to the character.
For sure. I'm still okay with this character personally. I don't really care. They graft various things onto people in these dystopian games anyway, so who cares? Why not ears and a tail? Some of it was understatement. He completely overhauled the character. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed a part. Sorry. So they're starting to get excited about the options, the storylines that could come out of this. And then all of a sudden, this guy messages again and says, "Hey, I made some changes to the character."
Here we go.
Last minute changes. I think this is where the real red flag is. Some of it was just building on the story, but he'd also completely overhauled the character. Different stats, different abilities, different gear. Everything was different from what was approved already.
I made some changes.
The only thing that stayed the same was the cat ears and the tail and the backstory. They were given no time to review it because it was time to play the game. And so they just rolled with it. Okay, we'll look at it. We'll adjust it later if we need to. To everybody's credit, session 1 went great. Rick's character, called Vera, played a little bit like a lone wolf at times, not really following the plan with the group and already separating and things like that. We've just heard that in the last one.
Yes.
But they still managed to complete the mission with the group due to Vera's infiltration skills and gadgets. So the character ended up being helpful, right? So the players are happy. There's another player in the game that's shown that they can be helpful to the group. They help solve the mystery. They even dealt the killing blow to the bad guy at the end of the mission. So everybody wrapped it up that session feeling pretty good. It was a promising start.
I'm trying to understand. Actually, it would be probably interesting to play a character like that.
I think so too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not
especially in that world. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Not lonely wolf part, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's true, especially in this world.
Yeah, especially in this world. So here we go. Red flag number 2. The party was tracking a rival group of edge runners. These must be like what they call these. What did they call them earlier on? Dirt bags or whatever characters that they're playing, right? These kind of living on the edge of the law.
Yeah.
Right?
Low-lifers.
Low-lifes, that's what he called them. Yeah. They didn't know who to trust, and they were expecting some of the corporation trouble. Like they were expecting them to show up as well. So while they're surveilling this place together, Vera sneaks off away from the group again. When she came back, the other player asked where she went, and all she said was, "Don't worry about it." And the other player pressed Vera and said, "No, where'd you go? We need to know." So she's
She
definitely,
has her right to keep it in secret.
I agree. I think so.
You can't demand telling a character did you go? I need to know
Yeah.
where. What is
I
this?
personally, if
Interrogation?
I'm a player in this game, I automatically think that she's a spy. She works for the corporation still, and she's spying on us.
It is your choice to think that, and you
Sure.
can like okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think they have any right to try to force it out of her. I don't blame them for asking it, but they can't force it out of her.
Yes, right. Yeah,
Yeah,
of course you can ask. Yeah,
sure.
right.
That's just role play. And if she wants to be evasive, then they're not going to trust her, and that's role play too, right?
Yep.
It's all
Yes,
role play.
exactly.
So now this PC is on edge. He doesn't trust this character anymore. This other character, not the player, the character. But they get back to the surveillance. Then the twist of the rival group NPC, one of the rival group recognizes her, Vera. And they're like, "Oh, hey, I'm a huge fan. Aren't you Kitty Girl?" or whatever her online personality was. And she says, "Oh, yeah, I am." And the rival says, "Oh, awesome. So
Awesome.
glad you're
I can
streaming
do
again."
that.
Go ahead.
We can do the dialogue. So
Okay.
you need to just
You want to be Vera?
I will read for rival now.
Okay.
Just
So you want to
just
start
to
it
make it.
back at the beginning of it?
By the way, yeah.
Okay. So
By
the
the way, yeah.
rival says, "Oh, hey." So start there.
Oh, okay. And one of the rival group seemed to recognize the character. Oh, hey, I'm a huge fan. Aren't you Kitty Girl? Her, or whatever her
She
online
said,
personality.
Yeah, I am."
Awesome! I'm so glad you're streaming again. Can I get an autograph?
Sure.
We didn't know she was streaming again.
Yeah, we didn't know that. The
Only fans?
rival then leaves, amazed that they met their favorite vlogger who hadn't uploaded in years and apparently started uploading again recently. Unbeknownst to Vera. Uh-oh. Maybe Vera
What
didn't
does it
know
mean?
this either. Somebody's pretending
Okay.
to be Vera?
Or somebody secretly records her from the
Oh, maybe.
party.
But I think it's
How
about
about that?
to, we're about to find out because the next line is a standoff erupted in character. The party, feeling blindsided by this, demanded answers, but Vera didn't have any. So it sounds like maybe the DM made all this up. And
Yeah.
Vera didn't have anything to do with it. The player running Vera didn't know that the DM did this. So they want to know if she's compromised the mission by streaming the mission online, right? They want to know who she's really is and who the online persona is. They say if she intends to stay in the shadows, she should burn her old identity and probably her new one if she's been found out by this rival crew. So whatever she was on as a vlogger and her new identity as Vera should both be burned, and she should start a new one because she's been recognized, right?
It makes sense probably.
It
So
kind
the
of does,
player,
but that doesn't
so
mean
the
she has to do that.
she doesn't have to.
No.
No. But the player got upset. I
Yeah.
paid a lot of money for this fake ID. I'm not just going to get rid of it.
Yeah. So tensions rising. One player's threatening violence if they don't get a straight answer. Another has their weapon ready if it's needed. But
Shit.
this is all in character, so I think it's okay. It's fair play. It's all in character.
I don't know. Just like that, you're pointing a gun on your party member just for her being recognized by someone.
Yeah.
Where is the collaborative work? Where is the friendship? My Little Pony friendship is magic and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think that this can be resolved without it actually coming to a fight. I think she can
Yeah,
say,
PvP, like just like that,
yeah,
ready to go.
maybe I'm not understanding the story completely well, because at one point it sounds like Vera didn't know that her stuff was being put online again.
And you are already ready to kill someone.
Yeah.
You don't even have any uh, any proof of them doing anything wrong, but
Yeah.
still,
I
and you
think
are
this
already
had to go
pointing guns.
beyond characters though. Don't you? I
Yeah,
mean,
a little bit.
I think it had to, because if they're just fighting in character, that's part of the game. But if the players are arguing about this, then it's a bigger deal, right?
Yeah,
Because
I
the
had this.
next sentence is Rick left the game. No warning, no message, just quit mid-session and dropped from the Discord server. So obviously this couldn't have been just in character. There had to be more to it. Why would the player leave just because his character was they were acting suspicious toward his character?
They didn't let him game play.
Yeah, I think
Maybe he
so.
had some ambition. Maybe he had something to do. As I told, I at one game I had a moral. My character had a moral dilemma, and the players got also suspicious about him. But still, we kind of resolved it in game.
Yeah.
Uh, for me, it was okay, but some players were really pissed and nervous
Yeah.
in the meta above the table.
Yeah, I think that's fair, but I don't know why it breaks up the game when the characters in game aren't agreeing. Work it out,
Right. Yes. Yes.
right? I
It is
mean,
characters, not people.
yeah.
I'm
And
not a druid stoner, right?
yeah, I think all of these players, or this guy writing it, whoever's writing this story, is saying that this is all happening in character. So why is Rick getting upset and quitting if it's only happening in character?
Oh, he does say it, but it was all in character,
Yeah.
cinematic, intense, grounded in the fiction. All right, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I'm a little
That didn't
confused
go
as to
above
why the
the table.
characters don't just find a way to work it out and then move on, right? It's like every movie you ever see, right? The two main characters meet each other, they hate each other, they figure it out, and they become the heroes.
And
That's
they
every
become the
movie.
best friends. It
Yeah,
is
they're best friends.
it always happens in a life. The
Yeah,
best friends are recognized after the good quarrel.
right. Yeah, definitely. So I'm
Before
a
that,
little confused as to why it ended up this way. So Rick leaves the game, no message, mid session, just leaves and drops out of the Discord. Later, he messaged this guy, the person writing this article. He says, everybody was being mean to me for no reason. They pulled guns on me and threatened to kill me and told me I had to burn my ID. You're all jackasses. That seems harsh. It's in game, and now you're calling them names in real life. That's not the same thing.
it kind of could be if they are kinda in game, but they actually speak
Yeah,
about the game. You know,
yeah,
they are talking. This is my character says, but they are in fact they are threatening him and
yeah,
are not happy about him, Rick,
yeah.
not with Vera.
And that's what
So
we
it
don't
kind of
know,
can be.
because he
We
keeps
don't
saying
know.
that it's all happening in game, but it can't be. It can't be all happening in game to end up like this, right?
Yeah, yeah. Something doesn't end up.
Yeah. So the rest of the players were actually surprised by Rick's comments and confused. They even apologized. They were worried that they'd crossed a line. Eventually, Rick,
Mm.
the co-GM, they said at the beginning there's two GMs. Maybe they take turns or something. I don't know.
I thought that they were like two DMs on server or something. I didn't know that it was two DMs in the same game, though.
Yeah, he calls him my co-GM. So it's either in the same game or maybe they take turns, different
How
arcs.
many, how
Yeah,
many players do they have there?
it sounded
Like
like
10,
maybe
10, 10
four or
players
five.
and
4 or
two DMs
5.
for
I
that.
think Rick was the fifth one. So Rick,
Hold on 1 second. One
okay.
second. Just a game.
Hey guys, what do you guys say about this? Do you think it's all happening in game if you're watching, or do you think that they have to be not getting along above the table as well to cause Rick to leave?
And that's it. Now they're gone.
Okay. So it says that eventually Rick, the co-GM, and this guy who's writing the article have a chat together and they work it out and ask him to come back. So he left it to a party vote and it was unanimous. Let's give him another shot. Maybe it was our fault too. Let's try to work together. They all agreed to make new characters that would get along better and start over, I guess. So here comes red flag number 3. Are you
Red
ready?
flag number 3. So far, I didn't see a lot of red flags. We discussed it with you, or do you think that the first red flags? What was the first
I don't
red
know.
flag?
I think the first red flag was supposed to be that he changed his character last minute.
Okay, then the second one,
And
because
then the second
he
red
rage
flag
quit.
is that he rage quit. Yeah, I think.
Okay, where is psychopath?
I don't know. I don't
The,
know.
the title
Maybe we're
says
going to
there
find
will
out
be
in the
psychopath.
third one.
Okay,
Yeah, because so far nobody's a psychopath.
I haven't
So
seen any.
red flag 3. Rick and I, the guy writing the article, work together on the new character. I suggest maybe reach out to another player and collaborate on character creation. Like they know each other, or they come from the same organization or something, right? So they have something in common coming in. Make someone a little more straightforward. And he pitched another female character, Antonia Drakov. And we built quite a bit of backstory. A former gang member.
Antonia Drakova then will be.
Oh, maybe.
It's not
I don't.
accurate. Drakov is for males. Drakova is for
Oh, I
males.
didn't know that you had like you changed the surname
Yes.
by gender. I didn't know that. We don't do that in America.
Yeah.
Or in the US. I know they don't want us to call it America anymore.
Really?
Well, they
Okay.
say, well, it's true though. America is South America and all of North America, not just the US.
Mm-hmm.
The US is just a small part of America.
Oh, it is a continent.
It's a continent. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a continent. You don't want to be called as a continent. Okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
Well, I get that. I'm fine with it. We're the US. It doesn't matter. Everybody still hates us. So creates this Antonia Drakova, right? All right.
You are right. He is wrong.
A former gang member who had it out for the corporations and the corrupt police. I can get that, right? That's a great idea in this world. He wove it into the world, prepped NPC connections, rewrote a few threads in the game to match it up. Good idea. It was already pretty late, so I went to bed and let Rick build the character sheet from the concept we worked on together. But when Rick sent over the character sheet, it was again totally different. Instead of poor gang member, he built a corporate assassin with no emotional capacity. There you go. There's the psychopath. I think no emotional capacity is more of a sociopath, not a psychopath, but whatever. Same end result. They're just going to kill people.
I think that psychopath has to be a socio. Oh, no, there is difference between them.
I don't know. I'm definitely not a doctor in real life. And
Yeah.
I did not stay at a
All
Holiday
right.
Inn Express. But I think sociopaths are disconnected from emotion. So they don't feel any emotion.
Psychopaths.
Is that
Psych-
psychopath?
yeah, sociopaths are disconnected with the people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
They
so maybe this one is they have no emotional capacity, so maybe they are exactly a psychopath. Um,
sounds like that.
and they're an assassin. So specifically traits that made them a cold, unfeeling psychopath. No remorse, no limits, who felt nothing when they killed. In fact, they were like their victims were ants beneath their boots.
Ants
Okay.
again.
Ants. Yeah, we're back to ants. Why are so many ants?
This is magic.
So when asked about this change and this disconnect, he said, I like this character more. So I suggest we tweak the backstory, give his character given that his character is completely different from what they had already come up with, and to better integrate with the other characters who might not want to rely on and trust a full-on psychopath in the group once they know their true colors. I can understand that. I mean, if they're truly a psychopath, then they could turn on you.
Yeah. If he is going to role play him as a psychopath, this person cannot be trusted.
Yeah. And again, he's separating them from the rest of the group, right? Because if
Yes.
you're a
Yes.
psychopath, you're you and they're them, and you'll work with them as long as it works for you. And as soon as they get in your way, you're going to just kill them.
Become another edge lord.
Edgelord. Exactly. That's exactly what he created, is an edgelord character. So he suggests that maybe they can give this character some reason to struggle with being a psychopath, and maybe even work like a redemptive thread where they figure it out and they're no longer a psychopath. I'm not really sure that's how that works, but
maybe in a game.
in a
Maybe
game, in a
in
game, we can
fantasy
make
game.
mental health easy. It's nowhere
Disappear.
that easy in the real world, right?
Yeah. You can. I think that you can't just cure psychopath so far.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think maybe you can learn to manage it, and maybe there's medications that help. I don't know. But I don't know if it can be cured. So he suggests this, and Rick replies with, okay, but can that backstory qualify for me for this one trait that gets me more cybernetics? I told him maybe we just stick with what you have. The game was starting soon. It's kind of late to be making changes, right? No, Rick quits the game again. Can't be a cybernetic psychopath. I'm out. And then again, his final message is, you're all mean and you're all bullies.
God damn you, Rick. God damn you.
Rick, we were behind you. We supported you, Rick.
We
You let
had
us down
so
again.
much hope.
We did. We had so much hope for you, Rick. Reflecting back, this player, or maybe co-DM, says that the players were very generous. They were willing to work along with Rick, and when they thought they hurt his feelings, they were apologetic. They actually cared that Rick was in the game, obviously more than Rick cared about Rick being in the game. They gave him the spotlight. They rewrote, even the DMs rewrote part of the world to accommodate his different characters. Yeah. And they even voted to give him another chance when he walked out the first time and insulted all of the players. The players were patient, empathetic, and open to role playing through the tension between the characters. That's part of role playing, right?
Yes.
Character tension is fun. Sometimes it doesn't have to come to pulling out your weapons all the time, but you don't have to agree with everybody on everything in a game.
Right. That's what I've been talking to with my group that this is the part of role playing. This is part of all of the you watch all the pieces of art and books, movies, etc. They have some problems, interhuman problems
Yeah,
that they can try to resolve, and this is where the dynamics builds on. This
it
is what
does.
makes it interesting. Otherwise, it
Absolutely.
is flat.
Agreed. I agree. If you don't have like real problems between the characters, disagreements, maybe mistrust or things come up and you work through that, that's what takes you from being a bunch of strangers that meet in the tavern to being the heroic group that stops the BBEG at the end.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I think so. I think Rick just wants everything his way. And anytime it doesn't get his way, he's going to storm off. He's, again, not interested in playing with a group. He's interested in playing his own game side by side with the rest of the group.
Yeah, yeah. He is building lone wolves. He
Yeah.
doesn't comply with the agreements. They even made a character together with the dude who was trying to help him until he passed out sleeping.
Yeah.
Come on,
And then he
it
changes the
was
character
sweet.
to a psychopath.
And then he completely flips the character and
Oh,
makes the holiday work a nonsense.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's
this is not a
wasting
good
people's
person.
time, and that's not okay. You got to care about the rest of the group a little bit. So it became clear that he did not want to tell a story with them. He wanted to tell his own story while they were telling a totally different story. And
Oh,
that's not a collaborative game at all. He's never spoken to any of the other players privately, just this person who wrote the article. He didn't speak to the other GM, just me. He
oh.
didn't want to collaborate or compromise. He just wanted his way. Nobody is the villain in their own story, which I understand that. Like Rick thinks he's probably everybody else is the villain and he's the good guy in this story. Uh, but sometimes you meet somebody who can't see the forest through the trees, and they sometimes they burn that whole forest down before they're willing to share a path with the rest of their group. uh, I agree with this. I mean, we don't hear Rick's version of this, but if it's close to what we just read, then yeah, Rick didn't ever really want to
Doesn't
be in
sound
this
good.
group. Yeah, he didn't want to be in the group.
So there is one interesting comment about that. That confrontation with the streamer was more inter-character conflict than a lot of tables allow. In my group, it probably would have been accompanied by some out-of-character conversation in a very different tone, hashing out what we wanted the resolution to be. We have separate in character and we have separate in character and out of character channels, but that really only works well because we prefer to play via text rather than a voice. It's a lot harder to handle that kind of separation on a voice channel. I can understand someone not used to playing in games with a lot of conflicts between characters not handling that situation well. I'm a bit surprised to see it in a cyberpunk player, since that feels like a genre where this would come up more often. But but you can have a long experience with one group and not much diverse experience. I'd be generous and blah blah blah. So he's actually kinda understands Rick, I
Yeah,
guess.
I kind of understand Rick a little bit. I just don't agree with keeping on creating characters that are purposely separate from the rest of the group.
And the commenter adds, constantly changing your character last minute is a clear bad player thing to me. It may not be disruptive to the game, but it's just inconsiderate and disruptive. The power gaming also wouldn't fly with many GMs.
Yeah, I yeah, I don't I've played with some people who like to power game, and they're constantly sending me stuff that is like, if I do this and this and this and this together, I get one more hit point of damage per round. And I'm like, dude, you're going crazy with this. It's 1 point. Play your character to the
They
best
are
you can.
that.
And
They are that douchey.
oh yeah, they're that on it. Or it doesn't really even have any bearing on the game at all. Like the girl in the previous article about the fox, the rideable fox. That's just cosmetic. Why does that even matter?
She wants to imagine it is a fox.
Yeah, but what about the in-game consequences of that? They're in New York City with magic. Do all of the normal people know that there's this magic, or is it just like a subculture? Right? So you see some kind of person, a gnome or a halfling, riding through New York City on a fox. Nobody's going to think that's weird. Like the
Maybe in
police
New
aren't
York
going to
they
stop
will.
her. Maybe she never got to the group because the police arrested her.
Maybe in New York City everybody is used to see the most crazy shit.
That's probably true.
In
That's
my
true.
town where I live, everybody would point fingers on him.
Yeah, if
I don't
somebody
know
rode
about
by
the
on a
police.
fox.
Yeah.
I live
They
in
would
a pretty
offer him
small
a
area too.
wine.
Yeah. I live in a small area too, and like you see something weird, everybody notices, right?
The
But
whole
not in New
town
York
will.
City. So I don't know. I think it's the player's responsibility, and you should deal with this in session 0. Every character in one of my games, every player in one of my games needs to tell me why their character is on this quest. If you can't tell me why your character is on this quest, you need a new character. Because you're just not going to be in the game working against the party the whole time. That doesn't have to be the same reason as everybody else.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
You see what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I've got a group that's chasing Vecna, right? One of them, their world was destroyed by Vecna, and they were rescued and brought to Faerun, the world of D&D. So they want Vecna dead for revenge. He destroyed their world, right? Another guy, Vecna kind of coerced not Vecna personally, but his cult coerced his brother into the cult. So he's trying to save his brother.
They are about to kill Vecna?
That's the goal. They're going after Vecna.
What level are they?
It's a pretty high level campaign, but they're only at like level 5 right now. So they're working toward that. They're building toward that goal. But everybody has a reason to be going after Vecna. That's my point. They don't all have the same reason, but they all have a reason. Right?
True, that makes sense. Otherwise, when there is no motivation, they're gonna be. At some point, he'll just and fuck it, I don't care. When he meets some troubles, he will actually say that. And I don't even know. I don't even care about this town. Why would I save it? Or I don't even. Vecna, I'm level 5 and not even close to that power.
Yeah. And
how much would it take me?
That has ramifications too, though. Like, what if they say, I don't care about this town, I'm not going to save it, right?
Yes.
But that town, somebody who lived in that town was supposed to help them later, but they let them get killed, right? I mean, that's going to happen in the game. If I try to make it as realistic as possible, where your decisions change the game. It's not just a railroad where no matter what you do, the same thing's going to happen.
Right.
I want it to be realistic. If this city gets destroyed, then you have to find a different ally to help you with whatever you were trying to get them to do. So it changes as you go.
True. The impact players make on the world makes D&D so good.
Yeah, that's it right there. The
This is
impact the players
tremendous.
have on the world. Right? I
Yeah,
think that's the
I
best
totally
game
agree.
you can play in is when your character is going to do things and it changes the world.
Even slightly, even
Yeah,
slight, it makes it alive.
absolutely. Absolutely. Alive and changing. That's the whole goal. And your characters have impact on it. So, like in one game we're playing, they finished a campaign called Descent into Avernus, right? Uh, and then rolled new characters, and now they're doing the Vecna campaign. But a couple of the characters in the new group knew of the characters in the old group. One of them's actually a brother of the character in the original group.
Is it the
So
same player?
no, it's a different player is the brother of a different player's character. Yeah. So it's fun that there's those connections, and they go to a town and the town is talking about this group that stopped Zariel and returned El Terrell to where it belongs and saved it from Avernus. And it's just like history. Now it became lore in this world,
Yeah, yeah, right, right.
right?
No, this is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. I shouldn't say it on here, but I may even like later when they're getting close to facing Vecna, I may have them run their old characters through a mission that will help the new characters get to Vecna.
Is it going to be a flashback or
Yeah.
actual time travel?
No, it'll be in game time. So like they have to get through something to get to Vecna, but in order to get to that, they need a distraction. So the other group is going to provide the distraction.
Do you make the collaboration of two groups like they are in the same world, but
I
I
really
had this
I
idea.
really
If
don't
I,
online. It's hard to do online because the groups don't necessarily know each other or care.
of course,
Yeah. Yeah, but I would do one. That would be fun where the two groups meet each other and help each other on something.
not only do each other, but they also, like you told, that in the city, that the town, they know that there's another group,
Yeah.
and the another group also have some impact on the world they are playing, and after that they meet each other.
Yeah. That would be
It would be
fun.
fun. Yeah,
That would be
it is
fun.
incredibly difficult
It
to
is. It's
manage.
it's hard, but I have done games where like two groups are doing different campaigns in the same world, and like when I'm playing with the one group, I'll be like they'll go to a town and they'll hear about the other group doing something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They don't actually ever meet each other, but they hear about it. It adds a little depth to the world.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
All right. On this beautiful note, I think that we can end up today's session.
Yeah. That sounds good to me.
You
We'll
have to stay
eh,
for recording to upload.
yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I'll wait until you tell me. It'll tell me when you start uploading.
Yeah. And on this note, we end the stream up to probably tomorrow.
Yeah.